Welcome to the audio files of the Unholy Slaying Agency, where we cover intel on the vectors encountered by our agents in the field and the inner workings of our organization. Today's file is on the Order of the Scryers, the early history of the USA's elite spiritual combat wing. The Scryers are an order of benevolent psychics, witches, magicians, and occult scholars who assist the Unholy Slaying Agency in defending humanity. The order is non-denominational in religious practices, although consisting mostly of Christians, Wiccans, and Unitarians, with several members being of the Zoroastrian and Sikh faiths. The Scryers predate the agency by many centuries, with dozens of their arcane lineages predating the witch trials of antiquity. Magic started with the act of scrying, by gazing into water, or participating in ritualistic submergence to better conduct and harness the psychic gifts of the practitioner. To commemorate their humble roots in times long forgotten, the order took to calling themselves the Scryers. Despite being hunted to near extinction and forced to go underground, the benevolent practitioners and witches of the Scryer Order came together at the behest of the US government's OSS, or Office of Strategic Services. They were needed to counter the incredible magical opposition by the adept practitioners of the Nazi regime and other weaponized supernatural elements the enemy utilized during World War II. A ragtag division of practitioners was assembled in haste and desperation from the most talented magicians and witches in the free world, making the Scryers unofficially the first American military unit to be racially integrated. They assembled a secret spiritual army of thousands, with the goal to counter the dreaded battle meditations utilized by the Third Reich to devastating effect at the opening of the war. They came together in the nation's darkest hour, turning the tide of fortune in favor for the Allies during D-Day. As Jesus warned, a house divided cannot stand. Putting aside their differences, the practitioners came together, forming their own battle meditations to counter the Nazi sorcerers. Although immensely powerful, the enemy's practitioners were few in number due to their ideals of racial purity, party affiliation, and exclusion, finding themselves overwhelmed in the etheric layers when diving against the massive army of United American practitioners. In their efforts, the American practitioners clouded Hitler's mind, forcing him to take direct command the enemy's war efforts. He maneuvered their heavy armor and heavy artillery emplacements away from the D-Day landing zone, tricked by the Scryers into believing the invasion was happening elsewhere, despite the pleas of his generals. Another perilous event caused by the American practitioners was flaring up Hitler's ego during the Eastern Front. The stubborn dictator, in his arcane-induced madness, refused to relinquish control of Stalingrad and head for more valuable targets, allowing his forces to get encircled, cut off, and crushed by the Red Army's counter-offensive. The Allied battle meditations continued to unravel the once cohesive, brilliant, and decisive Nazi leadership, causing them to waste resources on failed projects and redirect efforts into futile areas. After the war was won, the American practitioners were disbanded, quietly returning to their lives with the understanding of confidentiality, so that news about the effectiveness of magic would never be utilized as a military weapon again. That changed in 1962 under the wisdom of President Kennedy, a World War II hero himself, who understood a need for augmenting America's special operations units after peering into the files relating to the secret operations of World War II. This was provoked by the growing concern of reports from intelligence agencies of supernatural threats harming civilians. President Kennedy feared that the unholy menace would continue growing. He tasked the Defense Intelligence Agency, who are the successors of the OSS, with creating a specialized force for combating supernatural foes, so that the world would never be caught off guard and devastated by a combination of technology and spiritual warfare again. They formed the USA Unholy Slaying Agency, recalling many of the surviving practitioners who served during World War II. These men and women took to naming themselves after their predecessors, whose dabbling in water-based divination started it all, the Scryers. Thus was the birth of the Order of the Scryers, who now serve the agency in combating dark magicians and ethereal terrors that plague humanity. This humble Christian witch thanks you for listening to our history. And I respectfully ask for a moment of silence for those Scryers who gave their lives, lost their sanity, or became trapped in the ethereal layers when battling the vile Nazi sorcerers. You are not forgotten, my sisters and brothers. Please like, share, and follow, because it helps us out a lot. And head to www.guyquintero.com for further guidance. I am Madame Simone, Dupree, Grand Scryer of the Order. Light bless you.